welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate your patience here this morning as we got set and ready to go inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Make sure you make your way over to Great Lakes Honda City today. Let them know that DT sent you. And they are open Monday through Saturday for sales and service. That is Monday through Saturday. So make sure you make your way over to Great Lakes Honda City. You can get a sneak peek by going to greatlakeshondacity.com to see what they have available on the lot today. And we thank everybody that is with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Can't thank you enough for being a part of the show here on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So however you're connected with the show, we thank you so much for tuning in Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and hope that you have a wonderful day today, and that we continue to hopefully make that better for you today. So whatever's going on in your day, we hope to boost it up here and make it even better on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside these Great Lakes Honda City studios. We got an awesome show set up here for you today. We'll start things off with the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It is what happy tastes like. Then we'll go from there into lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver is the acronym. And that comes to you from Chick-fil-A Cicero. Today's topic inside of lead is peace throughout. Peace throughout. We'll get into that. And then we'll give our top dog of the week announcement at the top of the second hour of the show here today at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll be giving you our top dog of the week, and then we'll be joined by Karl Haywood. Karl Haywood is someone who I've gotten to know over the years thanks to going to ACC events and the ACC kickoff and conversing with Mr. Karl Haywood and having a great time talking with him, and I cannot wait to share something very unique that we've never done before on the show. In all the years we've been on the broadcast, we have never done this on Wake Up Call, so I'm excited that we get to do this and do this with such a good man and such a hardworking individual as Karl. So very happy to bring this to you here this morning. Can't wait to share it with you, with the longtime photographer that has captured so many moments in Georgia Tech and college football history. So very excited to have Karl on the show around 10 a.m. Eastern. I should say 10 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to have him on here, so we're going to have him on a little bit earlier. So 10 a.m. Eastern time here this morning on Wake Up Call. So without further ado, let's hop right into the annoying moment of the week. Proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It is what happy tastes like. And it's time to tell you my annoying moment. Well, I could say it's traffic in central and upstate New York. I've said it so many times, so I don't want to say it again. But just so people know, and I'm being an honest person as always, this traffic is stupid, it's ridiculous, and we need to figure this thing out. I just keep driving through, because before any of this stuff happened with 81, I was like, what are you going to do with the games? What are you going to do when people have to get to the SU game? Like, how are you going to get people to the Dome? And I said it over and over again before any of this happened, and now I'm sitting here, and we're getting closer and closer to the season, and I'm like, what are they going to do traffic-wise? Like, I have to get, if I'm coming by Destiny USA, I have to get, like, thank goodness we can get off the highway, because I'll be coming around and literally my decision on whether or not I'm going to stay on the highway is just looking at it. When I come around the corner and I see the highway all backed up, I'm like, yep, okay, I guess I'm going the other way today. Guess I'm doing this today. Guess I'm going around. Guess I'm going through the city. So, I mean, traffic is the annoying moment of every day in central and upstate New York right now, because apparently politicians can't figure out things and apparently the people that make decisions for the state of New York don't really care about Syracuse and central and upstate New York. And for the people that do, I thank you, and I hope that your voice is heard a little bit more. Good morning to Mr. Jerry here this morning. So, but because I have said it so many times on the show, that's my annoying moment of the week. I will bring you another one. So my other annoying moments of the week, there's some weird things that go on, and I look at some of this stuff. So a fiery meteor punched through a Georgia home roof. Let's talk about this. So this happened here in August. A meteor that punched a hole in a Georgia homeowner's roof after blazing across the sky in a fiery streak is older than the Earth itself. People in several southern states reported seeing the meteor fireball in broad daylight on June 26th as it hurtled toward the ground faster than the speed of sound. University of Georgia planetary geologist Scott Harris said in a press release that he examined 23 grams, zero point 0.8 ounces of meteorite fragments recovered from a piece the size of a cherry tomato that struck a man's roof like a bullet and left a dent in the floor of the home outside Atlanta. This is the thing that's crazy, though, and this is why it's the annoying moment of the week for me. Not that it's older than Earth, okay, because that's pretty incredible, but it's the fact that, like, we talk about meteors, right? And, like, what if a meteor struck the Earth and, what if it, killed all mankind and killed all life as we know it, and where are we going to go, and what are we going to do, and should we blow it up out in space, and yada, 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 and all these movies made about this stuff. But then you hear of a meteor the size of a cherry tomato, which is not big. It's like this, right? And it goes through a guy's house. It's probably smaller, like that. It goes through a guy's house like a bullet, faster than the speed of sound. So, like, if he was standing in the right spot, would it, like, go through his chest? With how fast these things are moving and the fact that it's on fire? Oh, yeah, there's just a meteor. Like, I've heard of this before, that meteor, like, fragments, little pieces, that they drop. They just hit Earth. And they hit different places. But it makes me sit here and ask myself, like, what if you're in the wrong place, wrong time? I mean, that to me is it's a little unnerving of stuff like that happening. Let's look at some other things. Bugs are popular pets in nature-loving Japan. Holy mother, what is that bug? The pet of choice in Japan, as much as cuddly kittens and playful puppies, is the humble bug. The bug has been a key part of Japanese culture from the Heian era classic The Tale of Genji to popular modern-day manga and animation like Mushishi, featuring insect-like supernatural creatures. Japanese people appreciate the glitter of fireflies. Okay, I like fireflies. Let loose in the garden, or the gentle chirping of crickets kept in a cage. You can feed the bug pets watermelon, but special jelly pet food for bugs is also available in stores. Naturally, bugs are on sale as well, with the more esoteric ones selling for 20,000 yen, which is $133 in American money. That's insane. Over $100 to buy a bug. Here, Crawley, I mean, there's plenty of bugs that I have under my deck if you want them for free. So here, Crawley and buzzing critters are not just relegated to the scientific realm of the entomologist, working on a taxidermy of pinned butterflies. Celebrities boast about their fascination with bug hunting as their hobbies, just like a Western movie star might talk about his yacht or golf. This has come from the AP, so I'm just reading through some of this stuff. One thrill that comes from studying insects is discovering a new species simply because there's more than 1.2 million known kinds of insects, far more than mammals, which translates to a lot of undiscovered ones. That's crazy. In Maruyama, this person that's saying this said, or they've discovered 250 new insect species themselves. That's crazy. So yeah, bugs are popular pets in Japan, apparently. Talks about feeding them, though. I don't see anything here on them, like, having certain ones in their home. Which is interesting, if that were to happen. How about this? Again, and they say, they've said this before. I've heard this somewhere. that we're not on the shark's food chain. Like, they don't like us as food. They don't want to eat us. Let's talk about something here. Reports of a large great white shark near some of Maine's most popular beaches have prompted police in one coastal town to issue a warning. Scarborough's Marine Resource officer got word of the roughly 10 to 12 foot shark over 3 meters on Monday. The shark was spotted in the area of Crescent Beach. This story was updated on August 12th, just so people know here. So Crescent Beach State Park, Higgins Beach, and Pine Point Beach, all located within a half-hour's drive of Portland, Maine. Commercial clam fisherman David Lancaster was able to take drone footage of the shark swimming just beneath the surface, its gray fin poking through the gentle swells. It's pretty crazy to see in the local waters. There are some really amazing creatures in the sea, Lancaster said. It's in the back of your head, but you have to accept it's in the back of your head, but you have to accept it, end quote. White sharks, made famous 50 years ago in the movie Jaws, are not commonly seen off of Maine, but have lived in the state's waters for centuries. Sightings ticked up in recent years, and some scientists say the state's growing population of seals could be a reason for more shark activity. Here's the thing, though. Nobody wants to be around this, right? And when they say that sharks don't like human beings, how many you hear about shark attacks and all this stuff going on, sharks getting closer to people and whatnot. And I just don't, it's an annoying moment of the week because I don't believe that they don't like us. Because somebody said that. They're like, sharks don't like the taste of humans. I'm like, well, then why have there been multiple shark attacks? Now, they say if you wear something shiny, like if you're wearing jewelry in the water, that can affect them because shiny makes them think that maybe you're a fish, and if you're wearing bright colors. But most of us, like myself, don't think about the swimming trunks that we have when we go into the ocean. I don't think like, this is yellow. Would a shark think that I'm a fish? And then I'm thinking, do I have to just wear black? Should I wear gray? Or are there gray fish that this shark likes? So just something to think about. There's something in here. This is gross. This looks really friggin' strange, but let's talk about it. Rabbits with horns in Colorado are being called Frankenstein bunnies. A group of rabbits in Colorado with grotesque horn-like growths may seem straight out of a low-budget horror film, but scientists say there's no reason to be spooked. They have a relatively common virus. The cottontails recently spotted in Fort Collins are infected with the mostly harmless Shope papillomavirus, which causes wart-like growths that protrude from their faces like metastasizing horns. Viral photos have inspired a fluffle of unflattering nicknames, including Frankenstein bunnies, demon rabbits, and zombie rabbits, but their affliction is nothing new, with the virus inspiring ancient folklore and fueling scientific research around 100 years ago. The virus likely influenced the centuries-old jackalope myth in North America, which told of a rabbit with antlers or horns, among other animal variations. The disease in rabbits also contributed to scientists' knowledge about the connection between viruses and cancer, such as the human papillomavirus that causes cervical cancer. So there is something that scientists learned from this. The virus in rabbits was named after Dr. Richard E. Shope, a professor at the Rockefeller University, who discovered the disease in cottontails in the 1930s. News about the rabbit sightings in Fort Collins, 65 miles, 105 kilometers north of Denver, started getting attention after residents started spotting them around town and posting pictures. It's not uncommon to see infected rabbits, especially in the summer when the fleas and ticks that spread the virus are most active. The virus can spread from rabbit to rabbit, but not to other species, including humans and pets. Well, that's good to know. The growths resemble warts, but can look like horns if they grow. I can't. I just can't. See, but here's the thing, though. The reason why this hurt me more, the reason why more, is because I just started watching The Last of Us. And, they told me it's kind of like a zombie-like show, right? And then I started watching it, and there's like these, I can't when they do this with people, because but they have like it's not that these people become zombies, but like on top of being whatever they're being, they have these like things coming out of their mouth that look like worm moving, and it's gross. It's just gross. It's gross. It's disgusting and gross. And but like it's because you look at the face and they have like this stuff coming out of their mouth that's like, so it's like they're infected with something, but it's almost like the parasite is a part of them now. It's disgusting. So God be with us all. It's gross. And so, but that's why when I saw this horned rabbit, I'm like, oh, makes sense because of what I watched last night. Now, there is another thing here about scientists discovered an ancient whale that has a Pokemon face. And I'm going to see here, this once again, this is from the AP. You can see it on the screen. It looks like it's like a character generated thing. So, long before whales were majestic, gentle giants, some of their prehistoric ancestors were tiny, weird, and feral. A chance discovery of a 25 million year old fossil on an Australian beach has allowed paleontologists to identify a rare, entirely new species that could unlock mysteries of whale evolution. Researchers this week officially named Janjucetus doulardi, a cartoonish creature with bulging eyes the size of tennis balls, in the Zoological Journal of the Linnean Society. Unlike today's whales, the juvenile specimen was small enough to fit in a single bed. But maybe people could have these as pets. So, since they like bugs. Boasting fiendish teeth and a shark-like snout, however, this oddball of the ocean was nasty, mean, and built to hunt. Quote, it was, let's say, deceptively cute. See, this is why things get creepy. Because it looks so cute, and it looks like a cartoon, and then it eats your face. So it was, let's say, deceptively cute, end quote, said Eric Fitzgerald, senior curator of vertebrate paleontology at Museums Victoria Research Institute and one of the paper's authors. Quote, it might have looked for all the world like some weird kind of mashup between a whale, a seal, and a Pokemon, but they were very much their own thing. End quote. So, the rare discovery of the partial skull, including ear bones and teeth, was made in 2019 on a fossil-rich stretch of coast along Australia's Victoria State. Jan Juk Beach, a cradle for some of the weirdest whales in history, is becoming a hotspot for understanding early whale evolution. Few family trees seem stranger than that of the Janjucetus doulardi, only the fourth species ever identified from a group known as Mammilodontids, early whales that lived only during the Oligocene epoch, about 34 to 23 million years ago. That marked the point about halfway through the known history of whales. The tiny predators thought to have grown to 3 meters, 10 feet in length, were an early branch on the line that led to today's great baleen whales such as humpbacks, blues, and minks, but the toothy ancestor with powerful jaws would have looked radically different to any modern species. It's just crazy because it does look like a cartoon character. They're like, oh, it's so sweet. And then it just, attacks your face. So, something nice here. I want to see if there's anything other than meteors and whatnot that sparks my attention here. It's just crazy, some of the stuff that you find. There you go. A speeding motorist driving at 199 miles per hour on Germany's Autobahn is fined more than $1,000. 199 miles per hour on the German Autobahn west of Berlin, a record high at more than 124 miles per hour above the speed limit, German police said. The speedster, who was not identified, was caught while racing along the A2 highway near Berg on July 28th. The driver was handed a fine of 900 euros, which is 1,043 American dollars, stripped of 2 points from his driver's license, and banned from driving for 3 months. A roadside radar stand known as an enforcement trailer caught the motorist in a routine check. A reading from its display showed the highest record speed of 321 kilometers per hour. Germany's famed Autobahn motorways have captured fascination and interest around the world for their lack of speeding limits, but apparently you can get fined. so that's why I wanted to bring it up, because like the German Autobahns, you hear about going 100 miles an hour, and I just find it to be pretty crazy, right? So that's, you look at this, you look at the German Autobahn and you think to yourself, like, wow, you can go 100 miles an hour. They must not care about anything. Lord only knows if any of this stuff is safe, and so on and so forth. And here you are with someone that can get a ticket driving on the German Autobahn. So it can happen to you. How about it? That's something that I find to be pretty interesting. You know what you can't do in Syracuse right now? In certain places, drive 30 miles an hour, let alone 199 miles an hour. Do you know why? Because there's construction literally everywhere. There's construction in front of the house I grew up in. There's construction under bridges. There's construction on bridges. I feel like I'm in a Dr. Seuss book right now. There's construction. There's construction in the city. There's construction in the park. There's construction in the morning. There's construction in the dark. Like, it's literally happening everywhere all the time. And it's a lot. And why now? Why now? Dan, it needed to be done. Did it all need to be done at the same time? You can't tell me that there wasn't a better plan. You can't tell me that there wasn't some thought of a better plan of what we could do to bring this all together. There was no other idea that was on the table. There was nothing else that maybe made some sense. There was nothing more to talk about of what we could do here. I find that to be a little bit crazy that there was no other thought on the table as far as the construction here. So, shout out to the German Autobahn, which I thought, they say you can go, 100 miles an hour, over 100 miles an hour? But homeboy was going 199 miles per hour. That's a lot. That's a lot. And he can't drive for 3 months. So what's he going to do? I guess carpool with someone who can go over 100. I want to know now on the German Autobahn. I want to know the highest speed that you can go on the Autobahn. No way. Oh, no. The fastest speed officially recorded on the German Autobahn is 268.8 miles per hour. No freaking way. 432.7 kilometers per hour, set by Rudolf Caracciolo in 1938. I feel like this morning has been very difficult names. 1938, driving a Mercedes-Benz W125 record wagon. That's crazy. Many sections of the Autobahn have no posted speed limits, allowing drivers to travel as fast as they deem safe and prudent. I love how they say prudent when you're driving over 100 miles per hour. So there must have been something on the Autobahn there that had a speed limit. 268.8 miles per hour? How do you go that fast? My thing is, why would you want to even drive on the German Autobahn? I feel like it would be so terrifying. You feel like you would die. You know what I mean? These cars going by you. I've had cars go by me going 100 miles an hour when I'm down in Florida in the dark, and it's terrifying because they come out of nowhere. Is it possible? And so, yes, it's possible and common to drive 100 miles per hour, 160 kilometers per hour is what it is, or faster on the German Autobahn, especially on unrestricted sections. Why would you have an unrestricted section? The world's fastest highway. Why the United States doesn't have an Autobahn? I can answer that question for you because we suck at driving. I mean, is there anywhere that you've been recently where Americans are really good drivers? Why don't we have an Autobahn? I don't need to watch that video. I can tell you why we don't have an Autobahn, because we have drivers that are terrifying. We have drivers that are terrifying. But don't worry about being able to speed up here when our highways are all backed up all over the place. Nothing like doing 481, I-90, I-690. I think are they doing the thruway I-90? I don't know. The thruway, I feel like they're always doing something on the thruway. But 690, 481, 81, all being worked on. Side streets being worked on. Under bridges being worked on. Regular roads being worked on. So, but I will say to the people that are doing construction that are around my family, they did help my dad out yesterday in a big way. So shout out to them for being awesome, because I'm not knocking the construction workers. They're just doing their jobs. I'm talking about the people that made this planning that said, hey, you know what? We have the New York State Fair where the entire state converges on Syracuse and people come in from outside of the state. So that's going to be happening soon. So let's do all the highways around it. And then, you know, Syracuse football and basketball is coming back, and the Dome is the premier sporting location in central New York. Let's make sure we do construction all around that. And don't just do highway construction. Make sure you're doing construction on the roads so that all those ways of getting around the construction on the highway will also potentially be backed up. So, I mean, literally, any way I go. Yesterday, I avoided the highway, and I went under the bridge, and the bridge, thankfully, yesterday was not under construction, but that area was under construction for the other couple times that I went to camp. It's just, it's been crazy. And then on the other side, there was a road that was closed. I don't know why the road was closed. And apparently there's a road closed right now in central New York because the two towns where the road is, nobody wants to claim ownership of the road, and apparently there has to be repairs done, and nobody wants to do it, so they just closed it off. That's got to be great for anybody in that neighborhood. But yeah, let's figure it out. So we brought it all full circle, right? We talked about Pokemon whales and all different types of creepy things, vampire rabbits, fun. If I saw a rabbit with horns on it, there's no way that Lily and I are going outside. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if they say it's not going to infect us. I've seen too many things on The Walking Dead. By the way, nobody prepared me for The Last of Us. Nobody prepared me for that show. No one did, okay? They told me that it was zombie-like, but when you have, like, stuff coming out of your mouth that looks like worms, I can't. I can't. Nope. Not going to do it. We're not going to do it. So, I mean, I watched part of the first episode, and that might be it for me, knowing that I'm going to see these gross things. It's just, I mean, it was more like a movie. It was filmed, in my opinion, like more like a movie to see something like that. So I will give credit to the people that created it. I mean, it's definitely more movie-esque, for sure. More zombie movie-esque than it is like a TV show. But yeah, it was very gross. And I don't know if you'll see me watching more of it, because it's one of those things that I watched it at night, so maybe I should watch it in the daytime. But then, like, you hear like a little tap on your window at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, not gonna look outside. Just not gonna do it. Could be a horned bunny. Could be the wind. Could be a zombie with tentacles. I have no idea. I mean, at this point, that's the sad thing about American society right now, is certain things wouldn't surprise you. Like if I turned on the news today and there were zombies, I'd go, okay, seems like the next logical step that we take in the domino effect that someone started years ago into Crazy Town. But here we are. Hopefully there's not zombies, and maybe we can get some roads done. But something that we all get to learn today. You can get a ticket driving on the German Autobahn. I didn't think you could. Apparently you can. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. This has been the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York, the longest standing Carvel franchise in America. Go and get my Sunday there 7 days a week, and buy one, get one on Wednesdays. We'll be back right after this.
Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual virtual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavocollis.com. That's myavocollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot Avocollis, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K-9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K-9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, K-A-M-P, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jim Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's just great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life, and perfect to have that message from Jimmer Sikowski as we jump into Chick-fil-A Cicero presenting Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. And of course, Jimmer is the owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, the first Chick-fil-A in Central New York, and historic in that sense. Today's topic, peace throughout. Peace throughout. Do you have peace? Jerry said there are zombies. They're in Washington, D.C. I feel like they've spread, Jer. I feel like the zombies have spread. Peace throughout. We take a look at our lives. And I was having a conversation with a family member this week. And I said to her, I want to be with someone. I do want to find that right woman for me. And when I'm dating, and I didn't follow this rule the last person I dated, and it cost me, a lot of peace, is that I don't want to be with someone that disturbs my peace. And what I mean by that, it seems very simple, right? She said, well, it's going to be hard for you to find somebody then. I said, why is it going to be hard to find somebody? Who wants a person to disturb their peace? I'm not saying someone that messes up my schedule. I'm not like that. I dated a girl where she scheduled time with me like a doctor's appointment. You can come here from 2 to 4. This is when we can kiss each other. This is when we can eat dinner. This is, these are the things I need from you. She treated me like a grocery list. I'm not talking about disturbing my schedule. I'm saying if you fight with me, yell and scream and this and that, I'm not about that. I've been there, done that, man. Been in those matches, those hour-long, 2-hour-long, day-long, week-long matches where it's just people fighting. And for what? Getting called names, feeling like you can't get through to somebody. No. My peace is really important to me. And I don't like being in those situations. Somebody calls me a name, and I don't want to call you a name, and then I get put in that situation where it's back and forth, and then I say something that I don't want to say, that I don't mean. It's not healthy. So, I think it's really important. And there's a difference between peace, saying I don't want you to disrupt my peace, and then being someone who's just like kind of set in their ways. And the sad thing about as I get older is people tell me that. They're like, you're going to date people that are already set in their ways. Well, I'm not like that. I'm not going to, every Monday is chicken night. And if I date a girl that's got all the qualities I love, but she doesn't want to eat chicken on Monday, or she's a vegan, then we can't be together. But there are people like that. I've met people like that. That you have to meet you have to check off every box. And, when I think about peace, I think about really everything. I think about people in your family that when they're wrong, you're wrong. When you're wrong, you're wrong. People that call you up just to kind of ruffle your feathers. They know how to get under your skin, so they try to, be it a family member, stranger, whoever. And I look at things now, like I looked at, when I put out a report about someone signing a contract, I put alleged – because I didn't talk to the agent. And sometimes, teams don't release the numbers of contracts, so it's just being released. And so if the team's not going to confirm it, if they'll confirm that there's an extension but not what the money is, then I'll say alleged, just to, protect myself. Like, I don't know for sure that this is this. And I saw somebody respond to it and say something stupid. And normally I would respond to it, and I was like, I know why I wrote alleged. I know how I handle my business. I know that I seek to make sure that there's clarity in everything that I do. So I'm not going to respond to that message. In the past, I would have. And in the present, I'm like, I'm not going to disturb my peace just because this person wants to start a fight with a stranger or question a stranger or make fun of somebody because they woke up on a Friday morning on the wrong side of the bed. That's unfortunate for you, but maybe you should get back in bed and roll off the other side and see what happens. I feel like peace is such an important thing. And in today's world, it seems like these last 5 years, if not longer, have really challenged us. If you look at just central New York, there was COVID here, like there was COVID everywhere, but there's COVID. There's been the Canadian fires, which caused our air quality to be terrible. I think once air quality hits like 100 or 81 or whatever it is, it's like not great. And ours was almost 500. So, and it causes a haze, and it almost looks like a zombie movie. It almost looks like a scary movie. I was watching The Last of Us last night, and they had this like yellowish looking air around them. And that's what it looked like in Syracuse when the wildfire kind of smoke and whatever was coming over. So, we've kind of been through a lot of weird and been through a lot of moments because you see all this rioting, looting. The media continues to lie to people about things that are going on, and you kind of your reality gets easily distorted. And I think over these last few years, at least for me personally, I've said like I'm finding that the outside world is really there because there's so much chaos. I feel chaotic. Like I feel chaotic in this world because the world just never seems to take a breath and just stop and relax. It seems like it's constantly just supercharged toward negativity and toward craziness. And you realize in those moments that you have to establish your peace. And you just have to relax. You have to essentially find a way to remember something that I think God wants us to know is that you are in this world, but you are not of this world. And to remember who your maker is. To get back to things that, because it's easy. And I feel like right now we're kind of like back in it because, that challenge of can you stay positive? I feel like we've been in this really weird world. If we find out years from now, or if our distant relatives, right, find out in the future that there was chemical warfare going on and biological stuff and people were seeking to change things and COVID was only part of it, I wouldn't be surprised. I hope to God Almighty it's not true. But you see these things like kids that are born with issues, like with different diseases and whatnot, and the uptick in all this stuff that's happening. It is scary. It is scary, and it's unnerving, and it's strange, and we're bombarded with so much information, and the information has been so negative, right? Natural disasters are, crazy strong and heightened, and there's all these things that they could do. And on top of the natural disasters and all the issues in Texas and the flooding and whatnot and the things that happen in North Carolina, on top of all of that stuff, you talk about global warming. And on top of that, they're saying aliens exist. And, it's like every couple weeks there's something about aliens, or every couple months. And then there's all this smog going on, and there's air quality that's poor in places where air quality used to be fine. And, then you have like, look out for these different versions of COVID, and this is this, and like, it just seems like sometimes in today's world, there's no breathing. There's no stopping. There's no like a day in the news where everything was good. And I think that chaos creates control. So I think now more than ever, we have to learn how to have peace. And we have to learn how to create our own peace internally and not rely on externals to give us the peace that we are looking for. That's really what I would say. And so it's something that I think we all need to look at and look into and really focus on is having peace. You know, I think about the fact, like, thank goodness the person I was married to and I weren't married during COVID, because it was already miserable in the house, and it would have been excruciating to have to be in a house with someone that you know doesn't love you, doesn't care about you, doesn't value you, and you're literally stuck with them, and they're on their phone texting Lord knows who and doing this, that, and the third. And, you know, it's just that atmosphere. And some people lived through that. You know, some people did go through that. They went through being in a house with someone who doesn't love them, doesn't care about them, doesn't want to be around them. And, you know, I feel very grateful that I wasn't in that situation, but there were people that were in that situation. And I feel bad for those people. I really do. You know, I feel bad for the people. And I mean, if anything, it taught you, like, hey, as soon as I can go outside, I need to make some better life choices. I think it was a reset button. I don't think God created COVID. I don't think God wanted us all to be trapped and lied to and stressed out and all that stuff. I think God is an opportunist. So I don't think that God created the virus. I think God wanted to utilize the virus to teach us something. And I think one of the things that he utilized in that time was to show us, if you have made the wrong decision, now you know. Like, now you know. You know, like, the job that you're in is not a job you want to be in. The place you're living is not a place you want to be. Like, when I've trapped you, the people that you've surrounded yourself with maybe aren't the people that you want to be surrounded with. God gave us all the reset button and said, what in your life is peaceful and what is not, and what are you willing to do to change that? I think God showed us all. That's why I said, if you went into COVID and came out worse or the same, you didn't learn anything. The only way to come out of COVID, come out of being locked in your house, was to come out a better person, a stronger person, a more peaceful person, a more well-rounded person, a more educated person, a person who values life a little bit more, a person who's deeper in their faith, a person who now has a faith. There was no other way to come out of being trapped than to be better. You know, there's a portion of the Bible that's beautiful and wonderful and eloquent, and it was written in prison. So being trapped on the outside doesn't mean you have to be trapped on the inside. And I think if COVID taught any of us anything, it's some of us were trapped in our own houses with people that we did not want to be with. And we realized that our house was more of a jail than we thought it was. And I hope you've made a change since then. I hope you learned since then. I said the worst thing, even more worse than not learning anything during COVID, was to learn something and then forget it once you could go outside again. If I've learned anything about this world, in the last 5 years or so, we've looked more like movies than I've wanted us to look. But it's even more crucial in knowing that things can get weird quick, that we have to be peaceful inside. We have to be willing to breathe through and talk ourselves through and know what to say to ourselves that works. The same thing doesn't work for everybody. But if you can find the thing that works for you, you could find the peace throughout. A peace that can settle your inside, come to the outside of you and be with you. A peace that is in your mind, a peace that is in your heart, a peace that is in your body, and a peace, more importantly, is in your soul, in your essence. So if you haven't worked on your piece, do me a favor and do that today. You're not going to regret it. God bless you all. Lead, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and the incredible team that has the leadership of owner-operator Jim Sikowski, bringing you peace throughout today. Focus on your peace. It's an everyday importance. Not an everyday struggle, an everyday importance. We'll take a step aside for a fast break here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. When we come back, Karl Haywood's with us, and also the top dog of the week is announced.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily?
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And of course, we are here with you on Wake Up Call inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. And he doesn't know this, but we're actually doing something special for him right now. And he is on the phone with us. That he is Karl Haywood, longtime photographer in the world of collegiate athletics and capturing college football. And I'm very happy and honored to say that today, this morning on Wake Up Call, and for this week, we are honoring Karl Haywood as the top dog of the week. Every single week, as you know, we honor either an individual or a team, a business, an organization, and giving them the honor of top dog of the week means that we have decided that amongst whatever I've seen or heard or been around that week, this is where we want to spotlight. and this is someone or a group of people that we want to pay tribute to. So today, that tribute is paid to Karl Haywood, who has been in the sports world for many, many years as a photographer, telling the story through his experiences, through his lens. And so, proudly presented by K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, right across from BJ's Wholesale Club. The top dog of the week this week is Karl Haywood, who is also my guest today. We will make history this morning, as Karl is the first photographer that has ever been on my show where we're going to be describing his pictures. And while we put those pictures up on the screen, he'll be bringing us through the history behind them. So this is truly a unique experience for a unique individual who means a lot to me in my life. So with that being said, I welcome longtime photographer Karl Haywood, our top dog of the week, for all the work that he's done over the years, to honor him, pay tribute to him, and to share his story. Karl, how are you?
I'm fine this morning. How you doing?
Doing very well. So, Karl, with all of that being said, why photography? Why did you get into it? Why was this something that you felt like was the right thing, the right avenue for you to take?
Well, my dad bought the newspapers where we are when he came out of World War II in 1946. And it was tough to take pictures back then. You had to use big box cameras, and you had to send the film off to get it developed. And then you had to use a different process to be able to print the pictures. As my brother and I were coming up in the business, and he started us to work there when we were 10 years old, when I turned 12, he gave me, and my brother's two and a half years older than I am, and he did pretty much the same thing. He gave us a Bell & Howell 35 millimeter camera, and it was the first camera produced where it was actually through the lens viewfinder. The other cameras prior to that were cameras in which when you look through the viewfinder, you were not looking through the lens. The lens was off, the viewfinder was off to the side, and the lens was in the front of the camera. This was the first through the lens viewfinder camera, and it had a Canon lens on it. And Canon worked for Bell & Howell making lenses for projectors and other things, and he had this idea to do 35 millimeter cameras. That was the first camera I had, and it was given to me so that we could go out and take pictures using 35 millimeter film for the newspaper, just news articles. Well, my brother and I both played high school football, and we loved it. And my dad played football. My uncle played football. We loved it. My dad's brother, he played at Greene County High School, Greensboro High School, and he actually had a scholarship to play at the University of Georgia, but couldn't do it because he had to work. I got to where I really wanted to give the local teams, local high school teams, more coverage than what they were getting. So I started going to high school football games and taking pictures at high school games. It was kind of difficult at first. There were not many flash units available at that time that would produce the power to give you decent light when the players were out in the middle of the field. You had to wait until the action came closer to you where you could get enough light on the picture at night to get a good picture to go in the newspaper. I got started doing that, and I really enjoyed it on Friday nights, going to different games. I'd try to go, when they were local, I'd try to go to one game and for the first half, and then go to another game for the second half. And then in the late 70s, they started the Georgia Sports Writers Association. Yeah. And I was one of the founding members of that. And in that process, we met once a year at the Falcons training camp at Swanee, Georgia then. And Coach Vince Dooley would come and talk to us from the University of Georgia. And at that time, they had just hired Homer Rice as athletic director, and Bill Curry as the head coach at Georgia Tech. And they came, and Coach Curry spent almost a full day just sitting there talking to different ones. And the sports information director at Georgia Tech at that time was Mike Finn. And I got to meet and talk with Mike Finn regular, and the SID at University of Georgia was Mr. Claude Felton. And he did a great job. Both of them did great jobs at their schools. I was fortunate enough to get in and talk with them and get credentials to go down and be on the sidelines and take pictures at college games. And that was just unbelievable to me, to be able to be on the field at Sanford Stadium in Athens and to be on the field at I've been a Georgia Tech fan all my life. Yeah. And to be on the field at Grant Field, which is, if I'm not mistaken, it's now the only on-campus stadium in the country. Now, I may be wrong, but I think that's right. It's the original field where they first started playing football at Georgia Tech in the late 1800s. And, in fact, on the side, with the visitor side of the stadium, the stands are actually built at Georgia Tech on top of the original stands on that side of the stadium. To be on that football field where some of the great players and great games of college football and the great coaches who coached at Georgia Tech was just a dream come true for me. And I've been fortunate enough to cover Georgia Tech on the sidelines since 1980. And it's been to be there and see some of the plays that were made and some of the great players.
Yeah.
I can't describe it.
Well, and like you said, to see some of those great plays and great players, we're going to, I know you said you can't describe it, but we're going to let you try here as we bring up some of the pictures and moments that you've captured in history. The first one is going to be Herschel Walker here as we see him running for Georgia. This is one that he signed, and I do want to let people know, if you see any gloss or glare on this does not take away from the quality of the picture from Karl Haywood. These are pictures taken of the pictures that he had here because we didn't have them digitized, so he took pictures of the original photos that he took so that we could share these here today. So if they look a little foggy or if there looks to be a little bit of light in certain areas, that is not of the picture itself. It's just of taking a picture of the picture. So wanted to get your thoughts about Herschel Walker in this move that he's making right now and capturing this history. It looks like and feels like you were on the field right next to him, which I thought was really cool.
Yes, sir. I will say, of all the running backs I've seen in college football over the years, I believe Herschel Walker is probably the best I've ever seen. He had amazing speed. He was big and tough, and the major part about that, he never lifted weights.
Yeah,
he did sit-ups and push-ups, and he ran, and he was just amazing. In this particular play, they were playing South Carolina, and they were at their own 20-yard line. This was the season in which Herschel was awarded the Heisman Trophy, but this was early in the season. He was a Heisman Trophy candidate, but he had not won it at that time. The play was to go off right tackle, and this was shot with film. And back in those days, the cameras, it was a 35 millimeter camera, and I was using a 200 millimeter zoom lens. You had to actually manually focus and try to stay focused on the player. And as he moved, you tried to stay with him. You had to have your settings on your camera right, and you just had to kind of anticipate what was going to happen. Knowing what Herschel Walker could do and how he would do it, it was hard to tell what he was going to do, but I knew to focus on him to start the play.
Yeah.
And when they handed off to him, he started right. I was supposed to go off right tackle. He had great peripheral vision, and he saw the hole open back to the left. And it was not designed for him to go left, but he planted his foot and he made a cut. And I snapped the picture when he made the cut. And it just happened to be one of those by luck deals, I guess you'd say, that the pose that he's in, he's not really posing, but he's trying to make the cut. The pose that he's in, he was in focus, and he's got the ball in his right arm. He's got his left hand out, which he eventually, the left hand hit the helmet of a South Carolina player, and he hit the hole back to the left, hit the sidelines, and there just happened to be two defenders that were ahead of him and kind of angled him out of bounds about 40 yards upfield. But Herschel, once he did that, in most cases, once he hit the sidelines, and I couldn't shoot well totally across the field. It'd make the players too small. And but once he hit the sideline, in most cases, when he kicked his head back and he hit high gear, you wasn't gonna catch him.
Yeah,
he was something to see. And in this case, he ran. And another game that he played Texas A&M, and he almost made the same kind of move. But in this picture, I had no idea. But if you look at it, it's almost the exact opposite pose of the Heisman Trophy. And he cut, and just as he was making the cut, if you look back over his right shoulder and across the field, you'll see Georgia's human mascot, which is Harry Dog, is just over his arm. So it was a very unusual picture to me.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. And what were you going to say?
I went to, after the season and Herschel had won the Heisman, I went to talk with Sports Information Director Claude Felton, and asked him. I had the pictures blown up. I gave Coach SID Felton one of them, and I asked him, I said, could you get Herschel to sign this picture for me? And he said, sure, I'll get it done. And it's priceless to me to have Herschel Walker sign a picture for me. I was just a nobody. And I have that framed and was hanging it up. I have it hanged up. Excuse me. I have it hung up in my room.
Yeah, no, and I love this, and I love the history that you brought to that picture, and I want to make sure we get to all of them here. We got a Georgia Tech picture up here right now, and that Herschel Walker moment, everything that you said, I feel like this is like, something that NFL Network would show. Here's a picture that we have, Georgia Tech, running back, number 21. He's taken off, and I believe Miami is on the ground staring at him after he got away. Would love to get your thoughts on this one.
Okay, this was the game, the last ACC game that Georgia Tech had to play. Now, it might have been Wake Forest was next. I can't remember. But anyway, this was the 2009 season. Coach Paul Johnson had come in with his offense, which everybody calls the triple option, but it's not. It's a multiple option offense because the quarterback has a number of options he can go to. In this case, Dwyer had been recruited by Chan Gailey as a tailback in an I offense, but he was almost perfect for what Paul Johnson's offense was, and he was moved to what standardly is called a fullback, which is right behind the quarterback. But they call it the B-back. And the first option of the option is the quarterback is under center. He takes a snap from center, and he options the B-back, either up the middle or outside. And in this case, the blocking, he reads the defense. When he comes to the line of scrimmage, he listens to the call of the center who calls the defensive front and the blocking scheme. And then he reads the defense as to how it moves. And then he determines, does he give the ball to the B-back or does he fake to him and then step outside? And in this case, the way Miami was lined up defensively, he saw that the blocks were going to be just right for Dwyer to take the option off left guard. And when he did, the hole opened up. And you can see the right guard and the right tackle, number 70 and number 75, they made their blocks, and that was part of Coach Johnson's offense. They had to get downfield and block for the running back. But Dwyer was wide open from then on, and he ran close to 60 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, and I love this. And the Miami player, you can almost imagine what's going through his head as he is on the ground looking, seeing that the guy he was supposed to get has now gotten away. The next one I want to show here, and I brought this one up a little bit early, so let me skip to another one here. I'm going to show the line itself. So this is one where we have, I believe this is Florida State going up against Georgia Tech. We got your quarterback under center, and you have just the setup before the play actually happens with everybody on the line. You got your running back behind here to the right of the screen for those of you that are looking at this picture. And like you said, it's not a triple option, it is a multiple option. This is before the plays ran, so I'd love to get your thoughts on this picture that you took.
Okay, this kind of shows you a little bit of the way of Coach Johnson designed his offense. This was created by him. He's an absolute football genius. Everybody, when he was first coaching, and he first had his first college coaching job at Lees McRae Junior College, and then he went to Georgia Southern, helping Coach Eric Russell restart the football program at Georgia Southern, and he developed this offense as a version from the wishbone. Everybody was running the wishbone at that time. And the wishbone was a tight offense. You had two tight ends, the line across the front, and then you had the fullback right behind the quarterback, and then you had a running back behind the fullback and a running back on each side of him, left and right. Coach Johnson changed the offense to spread the defense out, and he moved the tight ends from inside to outside. You can see one receiver far right. In this case, they had the other receiver in a slot, but usually the other receiver is on the far wide left. So you split the defensive secondary by making them go outside. He moved the two backs from the wishbone at the back and moved them up just off the line of scrimmage, which you can see Roddy Jones, number 20, to your right, just in the position where the tight end would be, but he's off the line of scrimmage. The other one is usually off the line of scrimmage on the left over there. You can see John Dwyer is the B-back right behind the quarterback. If you look and see how low Joshua Nesbitt is, his chin is almost on the backside of the center. And the object of it is you keep the ball so low and the lineman block so low, it's hard for defensive linemen to see where the ball is and who's getting it. He will take the snap from center, and the first move he'll make is Dwyer will come forward, and he'll either fake the ball to Dwyer or give it to him either off right guard or left guard. Number 20, Roddy Jones, will just before the ball is snapped, he'll come in motion around behind Dwyer going left to make the defense shift that way. And then Nesbitt has the option to either give to Dwyer, take the ball out from him if he doesn't give it to him, step outside and make the defensive end take him, and if he does, he pitches to the A-back, Roddy Jones, coming around to the left. The wide receivers take the defensive secondary downfield. That's the option. That's one of the options of this offense. It is extremely difficult to defend because you don't have but a week to prepare for it whenever you're playing them. And when Coach Johnson was there, a lot of teams would try to schedule an open week before playing Georgia Tech to give them a better opportunity to try to work up a defense to match it. It's tough. And these linemen were trained to block low and force the defensive lineman to be low so they couldn't follow and see where the ball was. Does that kind of explain it?
Yeah, no, and I love it. And I love how you talked about how the quarterback, how Nesbitt, how his chin is literally right there and he is crouched so low, not something you're typical of seeing of a quarterback unless they're right by the goal line and looking to push it in or something like that. It's very interesting. And Paul Johnson, I got an interview a bunch of times throughout my coverage of the ACC, and obviously he was at Navy, and then Ken Niumatalolo took over there, and then Paul Johnson brought it all over to Georgia Tech. I do want to take a look at this one here, and this is as we're seeing a running back cross the goal line into the end zone. We see the cheerleaders watching this, and another photographer that is on the left side. We see number 20 on the ground here, and Florida State is obviously not going to get to this scoring situation. They're not going to be able to get to the running back in time as he crosses over the goal line. I love this one. Again, it looks like you're right behind the running back.
Thank you. Well, look, this is using. I had stepped up, but in this case, in 2008, I jumped from film and a film camera to digital. So, and the digital gave me a 75 to 300 zoom, and this is almost full zoom here. And what you see is Lucas Cox was the A-back on the far right side of the line of the formation. Roddy Jones, number 20, on the ground.
Yeah.
He was the A-back on the own side, which would be the left A-back. His job was to swing out and cut down the cornerback. And now you see him, you can see the hand of the cornerback that he just cut down. Cox came around behind the B-back, Dwyer. Nesbitt faked to Dwyer up the middle and came to the outside. The defensive end took Nesbitt, and Nesbitt pitched the ball to Cox, who had an easy, almost walk in for a touchdown.
Yeah, no, and I love it here. And obviously, fans knowing Florida State and the history of Florida State, this is also cool to see these moments as well. And then the next one that we have up here is this. This I love, and it's funny because when you talk about a guy like Neon Deion Sanders, we know that when you think about Deion Sanders and what he's done and the history he's had, we know that Deion Sanders was somebody at Florida State that would give you that high step. But in this picture, it's a Georgia Tech player that looks like they're imitating the high step. They're up in the air. Both of their feet are off the ground in this picture as they have beaten the Florida State defender heading down the field, and the Georgia Tech fans are going nuts. I'd love to get your thoughts on this photo you took.
This is another case of Nesbitt reading the defense when he came to the line. He listens to the call. A lot of people don't know it, but the offensive center in most every college team, he calls the blocking scheme when he gets to the line. He looks at what the defensive front is, and he calls the blocking scheme for everybody else based on the play that's called in the huddle. If the defense shifts, he has to change the blocking scheme, and then the quarterback listens to his blocking scheme and then decides what he's going to do with the football. In this case, the way the Florida State defense shifted, and Sean Bedford was the center, he called a change in the blocking scheme, and when he did, Nesbitt figured out the best thing to do was to give the ball to Dwyer, either on the dive or a quick pitch, and he hit the hole, and there was nobody there. He broke a little bit of a brush tackle, arm tackle, near the line of scrimmage, and when he did, he was wide open to the end zone, and Dwyer had a lot of speed and power, too, and once he hit the opening, you wasn't going to catch him. There wasn't many going to catch him, and in this case, he went about 50 yards for a touchdown, and that was a big moment in the game because it put Georgia Tech ahead.
Well, I love how you captured this photo because you got him he's got his right leg with his right toe looking like it's going to tap the ground, but it's up in the air, left leg outstretched in front of him. So he is literally up in the air above it, and you can see his shadow beneath him, which is really cool in that shot here by Karl Haywood. Here's another one that we have, and this is of a play in motion, a play that's happening. We're seeing the offensive line all make their moves here, and we're seeing our running back now looking to take off here as our quarterback is looking to figure things out. So this, I'm imagining here, this was somewhat of a fake, I'm guessing, maybe to the right side, maybe to the running back, as the quarterback looks like he has the ball and is ready to pull here. So would love to get your thoughts on this photo that you took, Karl.
Okay, this was late in the game, and I took this picture because, to me, this is the actual multiple option in action and the way the line blocks. The center and the left guard took out the two people in the middle. You can see them in the pile right in front of the quarterback.
Yeah.
The quarterback, Nesbitt, read the defense, and he figured that even though if you look ahead, Dwyer looks like he's got a clear opening to the end zone.
Yeah.
They're about the 7-yard line in this case. But Nesbitt saw that there was a defender who could come up and challenge Dwyer near the 6-yard line, 5-6-yard line. So instead of giving to Dwyer, he pulled the ball. He stuck it in his stomach and then pulled it out. And you can see Dwyer's arms are kind of closing, his hands are kind of closing in to make it look like he's got the football.
Yeah.
Nesbitt steps outside. You can see the right guard, 71 Karl Haywood. He looks like he's losing his balance, but they're taught to block low. He will come out and he'll take that defender that would come up and pick up Dwyer. Nesbitt steps outside, and you see the Florida State defensive end's head over here to the right. The tackle left him alone. He leaves him for the quarterback to option that end. That tackle will go out and pick up a player downfield. Nesbitt steps up, comes down the line. The defensive end takes him, and the person you can't see in the picture is Roddy Jones is coming around the A-back from the left. He's coming around, and he's behind Nesbitt and about 5 yards behind him to determine whether or not Nesbitt's going to pitch. And in this case, if the defensive end didn't take Nesbitt, Nesbitt would cut it up. But in this case, the defensive end took Nesbitt, and just as he took him, the quarterback waits till the last second, and he makes that guy take him. And when that guy took him, he pitched the ball to Roddy, and Roddy caught the pitch. The wide receiver was Demaryius Thomas. He blocked his man downfield, and Roddy had a clear shot to the end zone.
Yeah, I love this. Like you said, showing it in motion, looking at the running back, and as you said, the running back kind of looking like he's got the ball here as he's looking to close his hands, and then moving off to the right side, Nesbitt, the quarterback, still with possession of the ball. I want to get into this picture because this is of a coach that I absolutely respect and just love the fact that I have been connected to anything, that you have been connected to anything that has some of these fantastic coaches historically, and that is being in the sports world. Here is a picture of the Florida State team and standing right in the center of your picture. And once again, folks, this picture you could see in the center here that there's a light reflection, and that's because these are the actual photos, not the digitized photos. So you could take, so that actual light that you see is not in the picture itself. And this is a picture from Karl Haywood of Bobby Bowden standing directly in the center of your picture. And I think that's the coolest part of it all, because when you look at this and kind of the darkness of the photo and everything going on, it's almost like you can take out all the noise and just pinpoint Bobby. When I see this picture, it's like, yeah, there's things happening around him, but this picture is taken in such a way so greatly by you that I feel like all the focus goes to Bobby.
Well, I appreciate that. I wanted to get a picture of him. This was either his last season or his next to the last season as the head coach at Florida State. They had already brought in Jimbo Fisher as the head coach in waiting. So either I can't remember whether Coach Bowden retired at the end of the 2009 season or it was the end of the 2010 season. It was one of the two. But Jimbo Fisher came in and was the offensive coordinator when Florida State came to Georgia Tech for this game. This was the pregame warm-up on the field, and I saw Coach Bowden standing out there, and I said, I got to get a couple of pictures of him before he's no longer with Florida State. And that was how it just happened to be that way. And I'm glad I got the picture of him as still the head coach of Florida State.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic picture, and like I said, it draws all the focus to Bobby. The final picture is the one I saved for last here, and that is your picture. Again, it looks like this wide receiver, who some of you may know as Kelvin Johnson, and others may know as Megatron. This guy literally looks like he's about to catch this ball and run right into your camera. Bring me into this moment with Kelvin Johnson.
Where we have to stand on the sidelines, photographers, we can stand from end zone to just past the 15-yard line. Then the team has close to the 20, but then the team has from 20 to 20. So if we want to get around them, we have to go around behind them and go around to the other 15 or 20-yard line, and you got space to the end. So Calvin Johnson was lined up wide left. Well, from where I was standing at about the 20-yard line, I couldn't see him on the field. In those cases, I have to look up at the big board. I have my camera ready, but I got one eye looking up at the big board to see where is he and what play is developing. In this case, I was using film then, and there's no automatic focus. You had to focus yourself. And when the ball was snapped, I saw Calvin looking up at the screen. I saw him make a couple of steps and stutter, and that sucked the defensive back in. They were playing Duke. The guy who was on him man-to-man, it sucked him in just a half a step, and then I saw Calvin take off. And I said, he's coming my way. And I believe this ball's coming. I believe this ball's coming to him. And I focused on the ground just outside of where he is. So he's not totally in focus because he is in motion, but it's very close. And when I focused and I looked with my right eye up at the screen and I saw the quarterback release the ball, I said, his ball is coming right here. So I had to back my zoom back to the 75 millimeter, because if I stayed full zoom out, you wouldn't see anything but just him and part of the ball. But I backed out to 75 millimeter, and I just thank goodness I snapped the picture just as the ball was touching his hands. And he pulled the ball in on his fingertips. And the Duke defender, if you can just barely see it, is trying to grab his jersey on his right arm, trying to pull him down to keep him from getting to the ball. Calvin was the greatest wide receiver I've ever seen, and an absolutely great man. And Herschel Walker, a great guy too. They would spend time talking to you.
Yeah, no, and that's incredible, like you said, to have this moment, and like you said, like the fingertips catching it. Now, for you, like you said, when you have from like the 15 to the end zone where you could shoot, the team has from the 20 to the 20. If you want to get from one side to the other, you have to go behind the team and go down the line and be on the other side, but you can't be within the 20 and the 20. You have to trust your gut. You have to trust yourself. Do you put it on faith? Do you put it on God? Do you put it on, your gut instinct? And do you connect that to just having faith in your shot? That you have to essentially, when you're a photographer, you're choosing where to shoot, you're choosing who to focus on, you're choosing where am I going to stand? What am I going to be looking at? What am I looking for? I'm paying attention to what's going on in the play because you essentially have to anticipate that something's going to happen. So what can you say to that effect? Is it faith? Is it gut instinct? Is it a little bit of both? What is it that you lean on to essentially direct your path into where you're going to focus, where you're going to be standing, and what you're going to do? Because it's not dumb luck, right? There's things that you have to do over your time as a photographer. So how do you decide where to be and what to look at?
Well, sir, you pretty much hit it on the head. Before the game, early in the morning, I say my prayers, and then before the game, I would say, Father, Lord, help me do the best I can to get a couple of good pictures that I can use in the paper. Give me some guidance. Help me see and understand. And I do the same thing at halftime just before we start the second half. But it does help me a lot to have played the game in high school. I was an offensive guard, and I played a little bit of defensive nose guard. But you had to know what every player on the team was doing with each call. Whatever the coach called, you had to know what your block was. And it really was a lot. Coach Johnson's offense and the way he called the games was a lot like the high school system we ran and the way our coach called the games. We ran the wing T. And we had specific blocking assignments, and you had to do that job.
Yeah.
Then to know that what you did and the block you made either sprung the guy free or you picked up enough yards for a first down or whatever. Other people shooting the games have much better equipment than I do. They have lenses that will take them all the way out where you can just see the quarterback's face if you want to. I don't have that kind of equipment. And most of those photographers are shooting anywhere from 400 to 500 pictures at a ball game. I don't shoot that many. And I have been told by some officials I don't shoot enough pictures and my pictures are not good enough. But I try to anticipate knowing one of the beauty parts about being on the sidelines, and I try to stay close to the 20-yard line on each side of the team. I can hear what the coach is calling, and I can determine, okay, I think I know what he's about to do. And then I try to get in position, but once the ball is in a certain area, all the photographers pile in, and once you're there, you can't move. You're stuck with that position. So you got to try to make things work for the area in which you're in. Now, you can go from behind the end zone to end zone. I think you've seen a couple of these pictures, you can see some people behind the end zone with cameras taken from that angle. Yeah. I've done that before too. But there's very limited space back there. And I try to stay on the sidelines where I can kind of hear when the offense comes off, the coaches talk to the offense and tell them what they're doing and how they need to do it. When the defense comes off, the defensive coaches talk to them and tell them what they need to do it. And then I try to imagine or anticipate what he's planning to do on the next series. And the same thing kind of goes for Coach Key. He's doing a great job at Tech. He doesn't call the plays. He lets his offensive coordinator, Buster Faulkner, call the plays. But he has a say. I mean, Coach Key is really good because he was a 4-year offensive lineman starter at Georgia Tech. He has a lot of say in what goes on, but he trusts his offensive coordinator. He's got headphones on. He's listening to what the coordinator's calling. Coach Johnson rarely wore headphones. He didn't have a flip chart. He didn't have anything. He told me he had what Coach Russell taught him at Georgia Southern, and that is you study the defenses. You look at the defenses, and you call your plays based on what the defense is out there. If you can learn defense, you can run your offense against anybody. And he did that at Georgia Southern. As offensive coordinator, they won 2 national championships in Division II. He went to Hawaii and picked up the run and shoot offense, and then came back to Georgia Southern, won 2 national championships as head coach in Division II, went to Navy and took that offense to Navy and took over a team that had only won 1 ball game the year before. And in 1 year, they won 5 games. The next year, they won the Commander's Cup. And from then on, every year, they beat they beat Army, Air Force, and Army every year, and they won the Commander's Cup. He's just brilliant. And I was glad when he came to Georgia Tech, and he demanded those players go to school and get a degree, and all of those young men loved it. And they love Coach Key, too. He is the same way. He demands those young men get an education. You got to have some, to me, you've got to have some, having played the game or have been exposed to it, to be able to do, where I don't take but maybe 35, 40 pictures at a ball game. One of the better pictures that I couldn't give to you, that I was fortunate enough to be at the ball game, Georgia Tech was playing Florida State. And Florida State was ranked number 9 in the country. It's listed as one of the best endings to a football game in college football. Georgia Tech hadn't won but 2 games that year, facing number 9 Florida State. And Florida State had not lost a conference game in 28 games. Georgia Tech was counted out. They wasn't going to win this ball game. But the team chaplain, Derek Moore, he gave the pregame speech, and you can watch it on YouTube. He gave the pregame speech he told the players, he said, you got a chance tonight to go out there and prove to everybody that Georgia Tech is not dead yet. And they went out there and they played Florida State toe-to-toe. And it came down to the end, and Florida State had a chance to kick a field goal to win. Georgia Tech blocked the field goal. That was Arroyo's only block that I know of. The ball went forward 20 yards, but it was blocked at the line of scrimmage. It went forward 20 yards. Coach Johnson, everybody was telling Lance Austin to just get down. But he circled around, picked up the ball, and it was the last play of the game. The clock had expired. The Florida State players were starting to go to the sidelines because they thought it was going to overtime. Lance Austin hooked around, picked the ball up, and I was watching it on the big screen because they were on the other end of the field. And he picked that ball up, and I said, he's fixing to come back this way.
Yeah.
And he hooked around, and everybody around him started hollering, everybody, pick him up, pick him up, pick him up. And they started blocking, and he had a clear shot around left end. And I said, he's coming right here. And I had to switch from full zoom. I said, because if I'm going to switch to zoom, I'm not going to get anything but his head. And I focused on the goal line. And I said, he's got it. And I focused on the goal line, and I have a picture of him with 1 foot in the playing field and 1 foot crossing the goal line with the ball to upset Florida State.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's the thing. I mean, that's the story. And I think even more than anything is you remember this. You know, I'm putting this picture up, and you're saying, you know, this is the yard line that they were on. This was the play. This was the game. This was the year. This is what they needed. This was the score of the game. I mean, the memory that you have mixed into everything that you're doing, I mean, it really shows you that a picture is worth 1,000 words because of everything that we spoke about here this morning. And Karl Haywood, longtime photographer, bringing sports history to life through the lens here in college football. Karl, to make history doing something like this morning, to tell the story behind the pictures is one thing. To do it with someone I respect and truly love as a human being is another. So I want to thank you for this today. I want to thank you for this history we got to make on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with you. And I look forward to the next conversation as always. But this was a lot of fun for me today, and I want to say thank you.
Well, I want to thank you, Dan. You got a great program. You're doing a great job promoting the players and the colleges and the Atlantic Coast Conference. I would like to one day talk to you a little bit about the history and tradition of Georgia Tech, because it goes way back and it's great.
No, we definitely will, and I look forward to it. I will say this, Brent Key is one of my favorite coaches to key in on. I love his I love the way he is himself, and he says what he wants to say and does what he wants to do. And Haynes King, that is ringing through my head all the way through this season, where he said to hell with Georgia when he was up there at the ACC kickoff. So very much looking forward to this and looking forward to sharing my Georgia Tech coverage. And you and I will definitely speak on the history of Georgia Tech. I love today, too, that we got to honor a man in Paul Johnson, who I deeply respect as well, and spent so many years following him and talking with him in his coaching of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. So, Karl, as always, thank you. God bless to you. Godspeed. And I look forward to talking with you soon.
Thank you. And as Coach Key says, go Jackets.
There you go. We'll talk with you soon. Take care, Karl. Have a good day.
Man, you too.
Thank you. That coming once again from Karl Haywood here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're going to take our final step aside here after he has brought sports to life through his lens. We'll take a step aside inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios and wrap things up right after this.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they're always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina.
Make sure you make your way over to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. On the corner of Bridge and Erie, the newest Chick-fil-A in Central New York is located close by to multiple schools, as well as not too far away from Syracuse University and where that Syracuse football team is currently practicing. Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, Bridge Street in Erie, led by Megan Sorber and her team. Make sure you head out there today to their drive-thru, as well as for pickup and to dine inside. The incredible team filled with students that are going to school right there, local colleges and universities, are led by someone who started at Chick-fil-A while working and being a student as well in Megan Sorber. So to hire students and to hire those college students is such an incredible thing coming from somebody who knows exactly what it's like to go through that. So shout out to Megan and her team. Go and visit Chick-fil-A like I did yesterday. Go and visit Chick-fil-A DeWitt today on the corner of Bridge and Erie.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvelange, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Head over to GG Cards and Breaks Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and on Sundays from 10 to 5 to find a wonderful assortment of so many sports cards as well as trading cards when it comes to hockey, soccer, baseball, basketball, football, as well as AEW, UFC. You never know what you're going to find at GG Cards and Breaks while supplies last. They just got a new shipment in, and they got a ton of Buffalo Bills cards that they just unveiled stacks of today, but didn't show you what they are. They just showed you the stacks, and they are now available. It is open. Get over there, and you might... I'm going to say, I'm trying to get over there too. Some of you might beat me over there today, but I'd love to get over and see what is in those stacks from GG Cards and Breaks. Again, you never know what's coming in, and they have a bunch of PSA graded cards, SGC graded cards, and more. They have their singles that are in their cases. They have packs and boxes that you can buy. Pokemon, Disney Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and of course basketball, football, baseball, soccer, and more. All you have to do is go to GG Cards and Breaks, see what is there for you to take home today or to buy for a loved one right there on 639 Delmar Place. Get over there now because they got a bunch of Buffalo Bills cards that just came in. And I'm saying get over there, and I'm torn because I'm telling you to go, but I want to go over there too. I want you to leave something for me. 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Looking forward to seeing you over there Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and on Sundays from 10 to 5. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I want to thank you for tuning in up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, both /Wake Up Call DT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, going to Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. Find us on any one of these outlets. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit follow, whatever it may be on any one of these so you should never miss a show. Again, you could find us by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, on any one of these wonderful podcasting platforms. And, of course, many thanks to our North Carolinian listeners and supporters who are here with us. Visit Brooklyn Pickle down in Southern Pines, North Carolina, down the road from Pinehurst Golf Course. And a big time thanks to our team of partners in Central and Upstate New York. This team's about to get bigger. I can't tell you yet, but I can tell you in a couple weeks, we got a few new members coming to the family. Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Mon Paz, the snack capital of the world, Brian's Landing, Pizza Man, GG Cards and Breaks, Mother's Cupboard, Chick-fil-A Cicero, K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A DeWitt, K-9 Campground Dog Boarding, which we just sent out a video of on our social media yesterday. Check that out and make sure you call for overnight stay for your dogs. 315-299-4013 today. Let them know the DT sent you. Avicoli's, and of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. You'll find the Bobcats and what we call the Bobcat Buzz every single week, or pardon me, every single month. You'll find them here with us. We've been doing a bunch of stuff over the last couple weeks, and you'll find the Bobcats with us here on Wake Up Call. Student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni all call Wake Up Call home. And you can find all of our content with the Bobcats by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. Find the BSC Syracuse playlist. You also find the Bobcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats call Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora home as an exclusive multimedia marketing partner. You'll find the Bearcats every Tuesday during Bearcat Time, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni coming to Wake Up Call all throughout the year. And so excited to bring you all of our content that you can find by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. Find the Binghamton playlist. You'll also find the Bearcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. I want to thank you for tuning in once again to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios and inside monpazpopcorn.com's What's Poppin', giving you the list of topics for the day. The annoying moment of the week, thanks to Carvel DeWitt. Lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver, focusing on peace throughout for this episode. Thanks to Chick-fil-A Cicero. Top Dog of the Week, honoring Karl Haywood, our special guest. And the Top Dog of the Week brought to you by K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, thanks to Lorraine, Chad, and the team on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York, for taking care of our dogs for the day. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. For now, from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I love my job, and I thank God for letting me do what I love and love what I do every day. God bless. No stress. Do your best. Take care. Have a good one.